Well, first of all, welcome everyone, and Anand, thanks to you and the group at Gladwell for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and really excited about what we're doing at Scaled Agile in the land of AI. So, if you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and share my screen and kind of give everybody a background. Then we'll go through some questions that we think might be common questions, and certainly we'll open it up for Q&A as well.
Sure.
So let me share my screen and go into.
You can see your screen.
Perfect. Let me just kind of arrange some things here so I can see what I'm doing. Fantastic. All right. So why did Scale Agile go down this path to go deep into AI? I've actually been kind of quietly in the background leading our research on AI and how it impacts our customers since 2021. So 4 years, going into 5. So it's not a new topic for me, but it's grown in how we're thinking about it. And it's certainly grown in terms of how it's impacting all of our customers around the world. And so it's kind of what led us here. And one of the things that we've observed is, AI is creating some new external forces that organizations are having to deal with that weren't really as prevalent as they are with AI with previous generations of software, right? So we call this edge, just a simple mnemonic to remember these 4 forces. So I'll start at the upper left. So exponential. I don't think anybody would disagree that when you look at how AI is evolving, it is at a speed unlike anything we have ever seen. If you're familiar with Moore's law from the 1980s, 1990s, in terms of the exponential growth of the processing power in computer chips, this curve blows that out of the water. Literally on a day-by-day basis, new developments are emerging, both in AI and robotics, and the intersection of AI and robotics. AI, just in pure, software capabilities. So organizations have to deal with it, right? If we make an investment in one generation of AI technology, we could find that 2 weeks after we take it to production, some new development has emerged that immediately obsolesces the investment we just made. That's a new dynamic. Leaders have not historically had that problem, right? If you buy big ERP, that ERP is not completely irrelevant 2 days later. That just has never happened. So that's a force that organizations are having to deal with. On the good side, that means that the capability of this technology is advancing so fast, and what that could mean for basically all businesses, all of humankind, if we use it wisely and don't use it for ill intent, that could mean just amazing things for the future. The downside is the bottom left, which is, because of that pace of change, it's also very disruptive. Whether it's I invested in this technology and now suddenly that technology is out of date, or whether it's because this is advancing so fast, we may have competitors in our market who are poised and ready to take advantage of that advancement much sooner than we are. And that could create a real competitive disadvantage. So that's a challenge that organizations have to deal with. It's also generative, going to the right-hand side. The thing that is different about AI than any software we've had prior to AI is that it can create things not just by pulling data from a database, but literally it can, it can compose emails. It can write novels. It can write song lyrics. It can create the artist that supposedly wrote the song lyrics, and it can even create the music for the song. It can create art. It can create images. It can create videos. So that's a behavior of software. Again, I don't remember any time, that I've been using one of the big ERPs and it just decided to create something new on its own. So that has amazing potential. What new markets does that open? What new kinds of products might that open? It's very exciting. But then it's also got sort of the downside on the lower right, which is AI, particularly generative AI, is not deterministic. In other words, in historical software, you write the program logic correctly. If your data is correct, it's going to produce the same answer every single time. 1 + 1 = 2, right? Generative AI particularly is different. It's probabilistic, not deterministic, right? So through its deep learning algorithms, it can use from its training data, that data and that algorithm to produce and create, which is great, but it could also have some inconsistencies, which in some use cases is fine. In other use cases, it's not fine. So these are the forces that are now in front of us. It affects our organizations. It affects us as well as professionals. So that's what got us started on this journey. Something is different. Our customers need help. We also, in our research, trying to understand, what is the state of adoption. There's two very clear vectors where we've identified that there was an opportunity for Scaled Agile to step in and be a part of what's going on in the world of AI. The first is, while there is tremendous potential, I mentioned that, the opportunity, depending on whose research, these statistics on the right-hand side happen to be from a McKinsey study. Tremendous opportunity to create massive growth, massive revenue across the globe. But if you look at how AI is actually being adopted right now, there's a chasm, there's a gap. The potential is there, but many organizations are not realizing a return on investment. They're not generating value from their AI initiatives that they thought they were going to get. That's a problem, right? Boards of directors don't like that. Shareholders don't like that. Customers don't like that. So what's going on and how can we help? The second vector we found in the research is executives across the world in multiple studies have made it very clear they need to upskill their workforce. The workforce needs to be proficient in the use of AI and to be able to apply it to their individual workflows, increase productivity, increase creativity, innovation. But if you've got an organization of 80,000 employees, how do you do that, right? So that's a challenge. So those two vectors, we thought, what? Given our history as Scaled Agile, we think we can make a difference. We think we can help. The answer from our perspective at a very high level is we need to help individuals and organizations become AI native. That term is used. It's not our term. It's out in the wild. But we created a definition, and when we use it, what we mean is AI native is the state of relentlessly embedding AI into new ways of thinking and working to navigate and lead in the age of AI. That's the umbrella statement. So great, Steve. What does that mean? So let's look at what it means to an organization. To an organization, AI native means AI capabilities are structurally baked into the operating model, the business model, everything we do, how we build products. It's baked in. It's not bolted on. We don't do what we've always done and then sprinkle a little AI on top. That doesn't work, right? It's very clear that doesn't work. We have to look at everything from strategy and product design to our infrastructure to our data, and it has to be optimized to leverage AI. If we do that, if it's built in, not a bolt-on, then we've become an AI native company. Our design for this, or how we would help an organization think about how do they do that, is in this model. I won't go into real depth here. We're in the process of developing an executive guide and some other materials to help explain what it means to become an AI native organization. If you have access to our studio platform, our Chief Product Officer, Andrew Sales, in the keynote for Summit in Denver just a couple of months ago, went through this slide. And so I would refer you to that video, and you can look at that explanation. We've got a model, we've got a set of practices, a set of competencies that we are going to promote to help organizations become AI native. What about the individuals? What about us? What about all of us on this call? What does that mean to be AI native? So an AI native professional is someone who instinctively treats AI as a default teammate in how they think, deliver, create, and deliver value. You automatically just instinctively say, oh, how can I use AI to help with this task? And instead of maybe thinking about it after the work is already done. I've shared in my classes, I've been working on this now for over 4 years. I don't know when it happened, but somewhere in that journey, my use of AI in my work, in my personal life, shifted from a conscious decision to a subconscious decision. I don't even think about it. It's like driving a car. I sit down to do something, and I just reach for my various AI tools and use it to help me in the work. It's just the way I do things now, right? So that's what it means to be AI native. So what are we doing specifically? Skilled Agile is we're a professional education company at our core, right? The products we build are to help people learn a role, learn a way of working. If you think about our history with the Skilled Agile framework, we're going to take all of that experience, everything we've learned and developed over 15 plus years in the market, and we're doing the same thing in the AI space. So our first 2 classes that we have built, one is called AI Native Foundations. That's for everybody, literally everyone in the organization. We are talking through our partners and with our customers. After they get exposed to Foundations, they want to train hundreds, thousands in the organization on AI native Foundations. It provides that baseline of AI competency that executives need in their workforce, and more importantly, it helps them walk out of the class with a specific plan for how they're going to use AI to improve a workflow that they do today. Right? So it's not just learning about AI; it's an applied type of course, right? And Change Agent is designed to help that issue of AI initiatives failing. Change agents understand why that is. They have deep AI knowledge, but they also have good business acumen, good facilitation skills, communication skills, and a blueprinting model to apply to get AI initiatives out of the ditch and producing value. We've got other things that are under construction that will be around that model for an AI native organization that I shared earlier. You'll see that coming here in the next quarter or 2. So that's where we are right now. We'll share this, and I'll share this with you. You can share this with the participants, because there's a lot of information here. But I want everybody to understand we're being very deliberate in our strategy for how we're going to deal with this problem. We understand clearly when we began this research and this initiative, we knew there's a lot of AI training options out there. There's no doubt. We've taken a lot of them. I've personally taken a lot of them because I want to understand what's out there. What we've built is distinctively different from the massive open online courses or the vendor trainings that you find out there, and it's different for a reason. It's not accidental. We just believe that they're as good as those are, and we recommend take as many of them as you can. You will learn something, and learning is good. But how to translate that into real, actual change in what you do in your job is something we have found that in the training out there is a real shortcoming. We want to help you work differently. We're a work differently company. It's what we've always been, right? And so you're going to walk out having done hands-on work in both of these courses with the actual tools and with an actual plan to take what you developed in improved competency in the class and apply it immediately when you go back into your workplace. We think that's different. And our approach to being an in-person class, that's also deliberate. And later in the Q&A, if we want to get into it deeper, I'll share some of the research that we've done and a lot of actual scientific evidence that proves the difference in the effectiveness of in-person training versus virtual training. Look, I get it. In COVID, we had no choice, but we're not there anymore. We're in a different day. And our focus is on this being effective. And the science says the most effective way is that instructor-led, peer-to-peer, very interactive experience, and that's what we've built. And that's what it is. So there's another slide here that kind of compares, our philosophical approach of what we're doing. It's not a training course. Just to make you smart about AI, we want you walking out with actual skills and a way to apply it in your job, right? So I'll let you look through those two slides. There's just a lot of detail on that. We'll share that out later. Another philosophical difference is we don't want you to just take a training and then you're done. That won't get the job done. It's almost like an apprenticeship. The training will get you started, but then through our AI Native Connect platform, which is very similar to the Safe Connect platform we launched, about a month ago. I and the team that I lead will be continuously adding on a daily basis new content, new information, new tools, new alerts, new things that you need to be aware of as a foundations grad, a change agent grad, a leader who's trying to transform the organization to an AI native organization. So that's our commitment that we're with you for the long haul, not just for a single class. And that's the difference, right? This is what we've always done as a company. It's about creating the ecosystem. And we know how to do that. We've done it. We've done it fairly successfully once. We're going to do it again, just in a very different domain. And so I hope that gives you some confidence that, when we say this is what we're going to do, that we will actually succeed in doing it. So that's kind of my prepared background, Anand, that I wanted to give everybody that I think would maybe address a lot of questions that we thought folks might have and you've heard from the people you've talked to. And I know maybe there are some other questions that we can explore if you'd like as well.
Sure. Thanks, Steve, for the context. I've been talking about AI with a lot of business leaders, a lot of individuals, and I kind of had a few questions, and I thought most of our professionals here would also have very similar kind of questions. So in the context of this, I would ask first a few questions, then I'll take the questions in the Q&A. So a couple of questions that I really have is, I think you've answered quite a few questions, honestly. Can you also answered the question of how do we differentiate the AI native versus various other AI trainings? I think that's a very important question that many people ask me. The next topic would be, there's a kind of a myth that I see in the industry that everybody thinks about this AI native, what do you say, the initiative that we have created is got something to do with SAFE. Would you like to throw some light about where does SAFE, where does AI native stand?
Absolutely. So I'll just kind of jump straight over to that, and we can go back to some of the other things if there are questions. I just have a sort of a collection of slides. Sometimes it's easier to show a picture than just verbalize it. So this is what I prepared for this. I want everybody to understand. Look, we're not giving up on SAFE, right? I'm an SBCT. I'm a SAFE fellow. I've been in the Scaled Agile journey since before being an employee. I was a partner first. So my journey began in like 2013. My SPC class was on version 2.5. So a lot of us are deeply ingrained and committed to the success of SAFe, and we're not stopping with SAFe at all. In fact, you're going to see us bring a lot of AI knowledge into SAFe, specifically around roles. If I'm a Scrum Master, if I'm a product owner, if I'm a product manager, how do I use AI effectively in my role? That content will be added into the SAFe products, into the SAFe framework, right? So that's the first point. The second point is, SAFe is all about how do we work in a lean and agile way? How do we create agility, adaptiveness in our organizations? Trust me when I say, if you're going into the age of AI and you've not mastered being adaptive as an organization, you are going to struggle, right? Because this moves so fast. It absolutely requires you to be nimble, to be adaptive. SAFe is a great pattern to learn the principles, the work patterns for moving quickly. And we're going to continue to evolve the guidance so that it recognizes, that AI has pushed our ways of working even further than we've ever gone. So you'll see, a lot of things there. So SAFe is still healthy, it's still good, and it's still growing, it's still changing. However, the universe of people who would gain value from guidance on, how do I use AI? How do I use it personally? How does our organization use it? I think I've got a slide here. Yeah, it's this picture. So if you think about the market that was interested in SAFe, let's be honest, it's primarily a subsection of every organization that focuses on product development, technology, etc. When you think about the number of employees in an organization that need what we're building in AI native, it's everyone, right? So that's sort of the first point. The second point is, while we're so grateful for all of the organizations and all the professionals, the 2.5 million people who've taken SAFe training over the last 12 to 15 years, we're so grateful for that. But that's a drop in the bucket, right? Compared to the size of, who needs to upskill on AI. It's literally everyone in the organization. And a lot of those people have no connection with SAFe whatsoever. And they don't know what SAFe is. They probably, frankly, don't care. They're not in a role where they ever needed to know it. And so, tying the two together in a way that says, well, in order to learn all of the things we have for AI native, you've also got to learn everything in SAFe. That would not be a smart business decision. That wouldn't recognize the actual product and the market. So it's one company, it's all scaled agile, but we have two distinct businesses now. We've always been one, now we're two. In the future, it might be three, it might be four. We'll see what the world evolves to and what our customers need. But for now, it's two brands, two lines of business. They're managed independently, but both owned by the same parent company. So the thing I think it's important for this audience to understand is, because it's independent, there's nothing about your SAFe certification, your SAFe credentials, your organization's licensing of SAFe. None of that has anything to do with AI native. There's no SPC path into AI native. There's a difference. So would SPCs benefit from what's going on in AI native? Absolutely. SPCs need to upskill. SPCs might have a path to become a change agent, to use their facilitation skills, their change skills, to enhance their career, take a new path, help organizations get their AI initiatives out of the ditch, out of the graveyard, as we call it, and actually delivering value. So, there's definitely, things that we think our SAFe community would benefit from what we're doing in AI native, but it is a separate, it's a separate company, a separate business. We share some things that just make sense. It doesn't make sense to invest in two different studio platforms. Like that would be wasteful. So we're modifying our platform so that it can handle both lines of businesses. We share the exam platform that we use, and all the back end stuff, all the accounting, all the things, right? That just makes sense. That's what any smart business would do. But when it comes to the products themselves and how we're going to market, how we're building the partner programs for AI native versus the partner programs for a safe business, there are similarities, but there are also going to be very clear differences, and it's for a reason, because this is a different thing. It's the adoption of a technology. It's not a process model, and we just talked about the edge forces and how different AI is. So it necessitates enough freedom in how we build this that we're not handcuffed by decisions we made for a completely different line of business. Where we can leverage what we've done and done well, we'll leverage it. Where we need to do something different because it doesn't make sense in this new business, we will do something different. I hope that lays it out for you, Anand.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, I was called by an organization. It's a startup company. They called me and they said, "Can you help us become AI native organization?" So I said, "Yeah, I said it's a journey. It's not a transaction. It's a journey. And are you guys aware of what is AI?" They said, "Yeah, we are aware of what is AI and everything." So the first question I asked them is, "Do you have data?" And the answer was no. So when people do not have data, how do they even think of building algorithms and building models? So I think the most important aspect that I understood from AI Native Foundation is to understand what are the prerequisites of becoming an AI native organization. It's not a switch. It's a journey. It's a very planned, methodical journey, and that's exactly what AI native talks as against other courses that I've seen. When I've been in the AI space for the last 1 year now, I've seen what does AI mean for leadership. I've gone to the technology to understand how to build mathematical models for AI, but nobody actually talks about how you need to develop take the organization in the direction of adopting AI. I think so. The next question that people ask me is that what do you actually cover in native and what do you cover in the change agent? Could you please share some thoughts on that?
Absolutely, you bet. So let's talk about AI native foundations. Okay. So remember, this is about upskilling anyone in the workforce. It doesn't matter if you're a janitor, a receptionist, in the sales department, in marketing, in legal, in accounting, everyone. This is for everyone. Okay. And what we want to have happen that started with the 2 days, but continues as you interact on AI Native Connect, is we want to create a baseline level of proficiency and understanding of AI. So you walk out, and you've done, quite a bit in 1 day. And I'll cover the specifics here in just a second. But not only have you actually done hands-on work with AI tools, you also have a plan. There are exercises that take you through thinking. What do I do? What does my work day look like? What do I do regularly? Every day, every week, I have this process. I have this workflow I have to do. And so once we give them an understanding of what AI can do, then we challenge everybody to think through, okay, given this workflow, how could AI help me make this workflow faster, more efficient, better quality, more innovative, right? So somewhere in that those vectors, and maybe multiple, there is true business value. Because just imagine if every single member of the company, every employee across the board were able to gain, 20, 30, sometimes more % of the work time back. In other words, free up that amount of time in the workday because the tasks you're already responsible for have become that much more efficient through the use of AI. So what if across the board, the company found that it had 20, 30% more capacity as an organization without changing the employee base at all, without changing the cost base at all? What would you do with that? What could a company do with that? So this is real business benefit. It benefits the individual for sure, makes their life easier. But more important, there's real business value behind having people in an organization go through this and gain this baseline level of proficiency. So you'll see, yes, we'll talk about Edge, which I've explained in AI native what that is. But most of day one, you're going to understand, you're going to get some basic fundamental understanding of terms and definitions in AI. Why is generative AI different than machine learning? So we cover that briefly, not a deep dive, but enough that people know that AI is not one thing. AI has many flavors, right? AI is just this umbrella term. So they walk out understanding that. But then you mentioned data. We immediately go in and help everybody understand that a great algorithm is useless if you don't have the data to feed it, right? So what data is needed for this workflow? Do you have that data? All right. What shape is it in? Is it complete? Is it accurate? Is it clean? Because it's garbage in, garbage out. We've been taught that as technologists for decades and decades. AI is no different. In fact, I think AI amplifies, because if you put bad data in AI has this tendency of wanting to make it sound like everything is A-okay, right? And it's going to use that bad data, and it's going to give you this terrific looking answer it's so confident, right? And yet it's just flat wrong. I was looking at a video this morning in my social feed about the AI tools providing completely bogus citation of legal cases and legal precedent, right? Oh yes, in Smith versus Jones in 1972, this court ruled that da 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 da. Case doesn't exist. It completely hallucinated it, right? Now that, who knows, that could be in the training data of whatever tool they're using. That could have been, bad data that they fed for context. But you got to understand the critical role that data plays. And so even at the foundations level, we make sure everybody understands that. We go through the large language models, the Chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Geminis, and we go through how to use them effectively. Don't use them like you use Google, right? It's a different tool. It uses different techniques, has different capabilities. So we teach basic, intermediate, and advanced prompt techniques right on day one. And you're going to be using those throughout the rest of the course with everything we do. We also talk about responsible AI. How do you use AI safely? AI does have some of these quirks, some of these unique characteristics. That's the flip side of the coin of its ability to create. There are also risks that are unique to AI. We'll make sure every person knows what those are and how to use your AI in your company safely. Okay, we talk about RAG, retrieval augmented generation. That's providing your own data to the tool and why that is so powerful. We talk about how to use AI agents. Agents are the big topic right now. Everybody wants an agent, right? Well, by the end of day one, every single person in Foundation has actually gone into an agent building tool and built their own AI agent. Right? Not something you find in most basic AI classes, right? So on day one, you walk out with, oh gosh, there's all these things that I could do that I couldn't do. And look, we've trained well over 500 people now in just a couple of months. And I have had some pretty mature AI users in these classes. Even they walk out saying, I learned something. I didn't think I was going to learn anything, but I actually did. And then day two is all about taking what you learned, looking at your workflow. How are you going to apply this in your job? How are you going to go back to work tomorrow and immediately start doing something with what you learn. If it just becomes, I learned something but never do anything with it, then, it was a fun couple of days, out doing training, but didn't deliver any value. We don't want that, right? If you're going to spend money to go to a class, get value out of it. So that's foundations. Change agents, different animal. Change agent is all about how do we get that key group of people with a set of unique skills, right? Whether that's deep AI knowledge, a philosophy of value maximization, great facilitation skills, and then we give them a model of how do you take an AI initiative that's struggling, that that maybe went through a proof of concept, but now it's stuck, it's not getting out to production. And we take them through a process model where they can go back into the organization and they can effectively guide a series of activities that will hopefully rescue that investment and start producing a return on investment, start producing value for the organization, right? And just imagine all of those companies who answered in these surveys that, they 30, 40, 50, sometimes as high as 80% of their AI initiatives are failing. Imagine if they had a group of change agents with this training in their environment to go in and rescue one at a time, right? Turn it from it's dead to it's actually producing value. I think most CEOs would sign up for that, right? So that's the two courses we have now. There's more coming. So we expect to have a full, robust set of of products that cover the waterfront by the end of next year. We're building them as fast as we can, and so far the feedback has been fantastic. So we're very grateful for that, and we've taken everything that we've learned, plus we've added some really smart AI people into the company. And the combination of our history for building professional education and their depth of AI has it's been a perfect match so far.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. I think that was very good, good information. I'll take up a few questions that are there in the chat now.
Sure.
The first question I have from Arjun, where he asks, if we were to design an AI native transformation roadmap, what would the first 3 foundation steps look like?
Great question. So let me go back to a picture I showed you earlier. Okay. So look, I get it. If you came from a safe background and you're familiar with our implementation roadmap, you want something similar, right? You want that. Oh, my camera's doing strange things. You want that step by step. I start here, and then I go here, and I go here, and I go here, and I go here, and I get to the finish line. Remember, I said some things are similar from safe, and some things are different. This is one of those things that's very different, right? So there is no one start here and go here in this step. You're just not going to find that. What you will find is that there are specific competency areas in the organization that any given organization may be strong in one area, may be weak in another area. And every company's journey is going to be based on whatever area you're weakest in. That's probably the thing that's causing a problem with your AI initiatives. So where do you think you need to start? You need to start there, right? Because you're not going far until you address it. So for instance, on the screen, we talked about data, right? So the whole set of guidance on, do you have curated data? Do you have data that's ready for your AI to use? And if that's a weakness, if your data is a mess, if your data is in, proprietary, point systems all through the organization, you've not invested in a data architecture, you don't have a data lake, you don't have, all those good things that organizations have been implementing for, the last couple of decades, then that may be where you need to start, because until you fix that, your AI is not going anywhere. Another organization may be at a completely different starting point. They may have good data. They may have smart people that know AI. They might be able to build an AI solution. But if the leaders of the organization have no clear strategic intent or vision or direction for the AI investments, if they don't have real use cases that are designed to deliver the most value to the organization, and so the people that can build AI solutions are sent in all different directions, and nothing ever actually gets out because the organization is schizophrenic and going this way and going that way, and it's kind of directionless. That may be where you need to start. You may need to start with your executive level and help them understand how they are going to contribute to the success or failure of their investment in AI. So those are just two examples of, two organizations could have a very different starting point. By the way, we teach this to change agents. So, they understand this conversation. They have the process patterns to find out where those pain points are, and help the organization focus on the right things first. So it's different. It's not prescribed. You have to understand where every organization is and build a pathway that's specific for them.
Yeah, I think that's a very good and a very detailed answer that you have given. The initial steps are extremely important in order to have a sustained value delivery. The next question is again from Arjun. He's asking, how can AI governance be made both empowering and ethical, ensuring innovation without over control? I think it's more of, rather than AI, I think it's more of the art of the new leadership style that we need to build. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll notice in the upper right hand corner we've got governance and ethics, and that's a surface area that's just as important as any of the other things on this map, right? So in fact, people that have been around SAFE for a while know that the first official course we created on AI in SAFE was around responsible AI, because in our research we if you don't have that in place, you're not going to be successful. It is so different. Go back to the edge picture. We described how AI is different. If as an organization you don't have the focus, and it's a matter of policy, it's a matter of process, it's a matter of education, but it's also a matter of systems. You can build systems in your stack, in your technological architecture for AI that help you guard against some of the ethical considerations like bias in the data and so forth. So it's not one answer. You need to have a comprehensive, responsible AI program in your organization, and it requires people, process, technology. It requires education. You have to be mature in this. The less mature an organization is in their responsible AI practice, the greater the risk will be that somewhere along the way, as they start using AI more and more, they're going to have an unhappy event, right? And if you watch the headlines, if you watch the news, at least on a monthly, if not weekly basis, there is some story about some organization, that made the headlines because their AI solution did something it wasn't supposed to do, and they didn't catch it. Now, maybe that's because they didn't have a sound, responsible AI posture. Maybe they did, and it happened anyway. It bypassed it. Who knows? We're not in those organizations, so we don't know. But clearly, AI has that ability to do aberrant things that can cause harm to the reputation of the company at a minimum. And worst case scenario, it could actually cause harm to people. So no executive wants to have to answer those questions to their board, to their customers, to reporters. So it's absolutely vital. And we're one of the things that we have under construction is we'll take what we started in the safe, responsible AI class, but on the AI native side, we're going to have a complete offering on helping organizations get to that mature, responsible AI posture.
Yeah. I think for people in India, there is this organization called Niti Aayog, which is the government body that defines that has defined the ethical rules that an AI solution needs to adhere to. I strongly recommend you to please go read the detailed document. That's a fantastic document about how AI systems should behave. So that's a beautiful a regulatory requirement that we'll have to meet if we have to develop AI solutions in India. You can just go to Google and type Niti Aayog Responsible AI Guidelines. You will get it. Okay.
That's a great point. So another element to this is it's beyond just what the organization has decided to do. Depending on where you do business, governments and regulatory agencies are starting to get involved in this. So for instance, most may be aware that if you do business in any way in the EU, in the European Union, you are subject to the EU AI Act. It's not a recommendation, it's a law. And there are stiff fines and penalties for companies to use AI in the EU and do not follow the guidelines of this law. They're kind of on the front edge of that, having the enforcement of law. Other countries, it's more of, they may have regulatory guidance, they may have recommended practices. In the US, we've got the NIST framework, but it doesn't have the power of law. But that's something organizations need to watch, right? Where are we doing business? Are there local laws and regulations we need to adhere to, and include that in their responsible AI practice?
Yeah. I think there's a question from Krishna where he asks, my question is more about Gen AI as it has a potential opportunity for ramping your organizational efficiency. It is important to agree it's a mindset, but it is equally important to onboard your organization to show some tangible savings. We're going to churn out at the end. How do we address this question?
Well, we address it head on in all of our guidance and all of our courses. You may have seen on the foundation slide there on the agenda, there was something called the 7 success factors. So when we've researched the companies that are doing it well, like they're producing value out of AI, they're using AI safely. So when we look at what are they doing differently that other organizations are not doing? The number one success factor on the list by far is anchor AI in business value, period. You don't buy AI and then go try to find a business problem to solve. That's backwards. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of companies are doing. They're investing quickly in AI because they feel pressure to have an AI strategy. Their board of directors, their customers, their investors, like, what are you doing with AI? So rather than doing it the right way, they just, let's do something quickly with AI. That will produce what the question implies. We teach a completely opposite approach. You start with what's the business value we need to create? What's the problem we're trying to solve? And then ask, is there any part of this process where AI could help? So the choice of AI, where it's used, how it's used, is all predicated on it's going to help achieve this business need, this business value. And we're choosing AI because it can actually add value in a way that other technologies cannot. Just because we have AI doesn't mean we need to use AI for everything. And we talk about that in our class. We teach our change agents, when you go through this process of analysis and understanding, all of the aspects of the AI initiative that you're creating, when you get to the go, no-go decision, the best decision may be don't use AI at all. And we need to understand that, right? Just because we have AI doesn't mean everything requires AI. It's tempting because it's new, it's exciting, it does creative things, it looks great. We get credit for, using AI in our company. But if you just start with the premise, we're going to use AI and then we'll find a problem to apply it to, you're going to get bad results every time. So we start right up front saying, don't do that. That's not the way to do this. You need to be smart on AI. Organization needs to be able to use AI. But when you think about where you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, it always starts with the business value first. And then, if appropriate, apply the right AI in the right place, in the right amount to do the right job, and not just, throw it out everywhere.
Yeah, I think we just have 4 more minutes, and in the interest of time, I still see a few questions. Probably I'll answer these questions later. I'll connect with those respective people and give them the answers. There's one question that I would like to ask you now, Dr. Steve. I would like to help my clients by giving them these AI knowledge, by giving these AI native trainings. Which steps needs to be taken to be an AI native trainer?
Great question. So let me go back. I don't think I had this slide in here, but I'll just go back to the first two. I'll use this one as an example. So remember, I said some things are similar to how we did things in SAFE. Some things are different. This is an area that's different. So in SAFE, to become a trainer, an SPC, someone who can teach our classes, you took a 4-day implementing SAFE class, you passed a test, and then you were off to the races. We're doing things a little bit different. So you still have to take the training. You have to attend foundations, and then you have to attend change agent. We don't include the foundational concepts and principles in foundations in change agent. So, we don't have, we have leading SAFE, and then there's a lot of leading SAFE content and implementing SAFE. We're not doing that. So foundations content is foundations content. Change agent content is change agent content. To teach, you need both. And you need to have gone through it as a student first for both. Once you've done that, then you can attend a trainer enablement session. It's a 2-day session, always run by Skilled Agile. We're not farming that out yet. And hopefully we never will, because we want to make sure that without question, the people who are able to train this are properly prepared to train it. And so if you've completed the first 2, there will be trainer enablement sessions on the calendar. In 2026, there's only one left in this year. It's full. So we'll put out a calendar for when you can sign up for the trainer enablement. And if you take the first 2 classes, then you're qualified to go through the enablement. Right now, the only people we have trained to do that are people who work for our partners, like Gladwell, who were the first brave group of companies who joined us in this journey. And the next couple of waves are also focused on partners. We'll start expanding that. We can do some work in enterprises, and maybe at some point, individuals, not associated, they want to do something independently. I'm sure at a point in the future, we'll do that as well. Right now, it's focused on exclusively on partners. We'll start seeing some internal enterprise trainers, big organizations that want to train their own training staff because they've got large numbers and whatnot. We'll start to see that. So that's the sequence for the first 2 products. Again, we've got more products coming. So there's, this picture will change and expand in 2026. So keep checking back with us, keep watching. If you go to the very last page on the deck here, sorry, I broke out of that. That was weird. There is an address. Can you see it now?
No, she's flashing the last slide.
Yeah, it's on the very last slide. So we do have a website up now. It's just skilledagile.com/AI-native. Stay tuned to that page. Any new information as it comes out, new classes, new opportunities, new guidance. You'll always be able to find out the latest and greatest there. If you take a class or become part of our AI Native Connect community, we'll also be sharing information in the portal there as well.
Okay, guys, this is an opportunity to be the part of the first AI Native Foundation class in India. So the class is on November 23 and 24. I'm delivering the workshop. So if there are anybody who's interested to be a part of this journey and start your AI transformation the right way, here is the opportunity. You can contact us, talk to us, and then we'll see how we can get you into the workshop. Okay. I think that's the time we had for today. I've responded to a few questions that I've asked you folks to contact me. I'll get back to you answers for your questions. But I think that's time up now. So I would like to thank you for being part of this conversation. And thank you, Dr. Steve, for your time. I know you're extremely busy flying from Australia. Thank you very much for your time. And I thank all of you for your participation. Let's join together, make India the next AI hub of the world. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day if you are in US, and have a wonderful evening if you are in India. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks for inviting me.